forecast and monthly KPIs for all our different businesses, providing paperwork to the Batman, to the banks, to any private investors. So I got somebody involved who does like doing that. And it brought a great balance to the team, because I'm very risky. He's completely risk averse, he's completely opposite. So I'll come back with a great idea and I'll tell him, we should do this because, I'll give him 20 reasons why we should invest or why we should start this business, and he'll give me 20 reasons why we shouldn't. We'll have a fight about it, and then we'll meet in the middle. But I got that great balance at that point when I got to that stage, because I went out and I found somebody to plug those gaps and gave me a good balance. In a team, it's all about a balance. You have some real mavericks, and you have some real sort of methodical, hard-working, organised types, and you need that.
Wish out that would literally. I wish we had all the time to do even more, because I was learning a tremendous amount from them. Please, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Thank you very much, and also I'm very, very aware of everyone's time. I know we're all going to be busy people as well. Our next speaker is Caroline Marsh, one of Britain's leading female property investors, and also an inspiration to many, many, many people. You may well have seen her also on The Secret Millionaire, which is obviously quite so secret now, because that's what the program is on. She's also now doing making a world of difference with the Vodafone as well, and charity as well. So please put your hands together for Caroline.
But firstly, I would like to just say what a privilege to have to be standing in front of all of you guys that are so well educated and you know on the way to really achieving great things in your lives. Now I'll tell you why I'll say that is because when I was growing up, my teacher always said to me, Caroline, when you grow up, you're going to amount up to nothing. And I'd have just really loved him to be here. And not because I made fun of him, but for him to say, you know what, you must never put people in a box, because you never know where they're going to end up. So, I mean, I'm so honoured to be asked to speak into your lives this morning, and I'm going to come more on the inspirational side of things. And James and Imran have done a brilliant job in terms of educating on entrepreneurship. This week, for me, has been an exciting week because it's Entrepreneurship Week, but also to be able to celebrate the success that we can all have. In fact, you know, the successes that I've achieved in my own life and other people. So it's just thinking, well, actually, let's embrace all that we have and be able to do some great things. So firstly, I'll just start off by just telling you about my story, my background. I was born and brought up in Zambia, in Central Africa. I lived there most of my life. Very fortunately, my parents had really good jobs. Therefore, we had really a privileged childhood. I went to really good school, we lived in a nice house, and lived at the higher end of society back at home in Africa. Unfortunately, at the age of 13, my father passed away. So it meant that actually we had to downsize our house, change schools. We practically lost a lot of things. It meant my mother had to now look after 4 children on her own on a single income. That was a challenge. I mean, a lot of you might know about people in Africa, but seeing that we were at this end of a lifestyle, suddenly going down that way, meant we had to adjust from going from one level to another. However, the only way for my mother moving forward was to become I'll call her a mompreneur. She took on a journey of enterprising, as well as working as an accountant. Over the weekends, we didn't really see my mother. She went up in the country and bought vegetables and all sorts of things, came back home, repackaged them and sold them so she could feed the children and so she could educate us. So I was quite moved by all of that and very, very much emotionally disturbed. In fact, I was thinking, well, there's got to be more to life than just this. Because I've experienced life at the higher end. I cannot end up like this the rest of my life. However, my dream was to always become an air hostess. I just love the glamour of on the aeroplane and serving people. And my mother said to me, Caroline, I spent all this money, I spent all this time educating you. You want to be an air hostess serving people? And I thought, yes, Mum, I quite like the idea of just serving people. And you know what? I was so determined. I wanted to be an air hostess. At the age of 19, a local airline in Zambia was recruiting. I got to my interview room, I'm going to get this job. I got there. I was one of 5,000 applicants for 10 positions. So no pressure. I thought, you know what? I don't know, but you know, I just hope I can get the job. Unfortunately, I was one of the 10. My whole lifestyle just changed. And suddenly I was able to help my family, you know, get my brothers into education. My brother really wanted to go to university, but we could not afford university. And I thought, what a great opportunity. I'm going to go out there and make a difference in my brother's life. And my brother went to university and, you know, we're having a really great lifestyle. But at the same time, I actually saw opportunity in being an air hostess. Because I was flown from one country to the other, I began to see, well, sometimes maybe, you know, the fashion is not quite as it is in one country to the other. What can I do? I began to sell shoes. I began to sell clothes, bringing clothes from South Africa or other countries back into my local country in Zambia. So very almost taking on my entrepreneurial kind of, you know, thinking, well, maybe I can also enhance my lifestyle even a lot more. I did that for just over 2 years, and I thought, well, this is going really well. I'm going to go, you know, do it big time. I began to do importing and exporting of bigger spare parts for trucks in my local country. I mean, you know, not quite the thing that you see an air hostess carrying all these huge things. Well, I didn't carry them, but you know, I had to kind of move them from one place to the other, from using the airline as a way. And I did that for about nearly 3 years, and I made a lot of money. I was, you know, living the dream. I got a job, and I do travel, and I got extra income, bought myself a car, bought my mum a house. We really had a better lifestyle. Unfortunately, the airline I worked for went into voluntary liquidation. And some of you might know, in Africa, you're either employed, begging, or a business person. And I didn't want to go and beg. So I thought, well, I can't beg. My business is going to go, and I haven't got a job. So I thought, the only thing I can do is carry on this import and export business. Now, the challenge was the freight. I could not afford to have to pay freight from one country to the other. I had to think of a way of, you know, transporting my spare parts. So I approached a big transport company, and I asked them, well, do you mind having to take my stuff from South Africa to Zambia? And I'd invested all of my investment in these 2 orders. I got huge orders from the transport company. And when I actually got to the place, and the guy said to me, yeah, no problem, that's fine. And I trusted the guy. I thought, you know what, he's going to deliver. We're going to get all these things to my country. And I flew back home and got home. I began to wait for my stuff to arrive so I can deliver them to the transporting company. And I was waiting. Day 1, I waited. The second day, and third day, and fourth day, and these things did not arrive. This man had done a runner. I had no paperwork to say we had signed anything. I had nothing, no proof whatsoever. So I lost my job. I lost all my money. I had nothing. I still could not bring myself down to begging. So I thought, well, I'll go and get a job. And I did go out to go and get a job, and I began to run a restaurant back in Zambia. A few months later, I got married. And when I got married, my husband and I, he was running Ernst & Young. He set up Ernst & Young in Zambia. That was quite successful. However, there was not a lot going on for myself. And we said, I asked him, can we relocate maybe, you know, to a better place for better opportunities? And so we relocated to the UK for better opportunities. And I have to say, coming from an African background, for an African girl like myself, not only was it a challenge just to come and, you know, learn a different culture, but how the whole system worked. Now, I didn't want to, I'd never been into a proper job, sitting in an office. I didn't really want that lifestyle. So it was thinking, well, how do I actually get to learn about the culture? How do people work? How do people talk? And that whole process of doing that took me a long time, but I thought, well, I'm going to have to embrace change here and just go for it and get the job. And I got a job at Nationwide. I worked there for 6 months. I don't know, after 6 months, I just could not work behind a desk. I wanted to do something else. So I went self-employed. Now I understood a bit about the system, and I understood, well, I've got my wings, I can apply, I'll go for it, and I did. I began to do promotional work. Some of you might know, those people in supermarkets or shopping centres are always stopping you. Do you want to try some? Do you want to have some? I was one of those. I moved up and down the country. And from up north, down south, I was everywhere, promoting and selling everything and anything. Obviously, you know, you've got to be careful, but I sold from coffee machines to cereal bars, everything. I was shouting on top of my voice, trying to sell all these things. And I did that quite successfully, and until 2006, when I went to a business conference in Alicante. And that, for me, was my turning point, because I got there, and we were property investors in Swindon, however, very novice ones, so we didn't know a lot of what we were doing.